Okay. So when you come up to your standing position, I'm going to go ahead and just like step your feet apart. Take a nice wide stance where you have tons of space. Reach out, Bubba. Go on. Okay. And we're going to do a little bouncing. So I want you to just stay in the same position, but focus on dropping the body. And it can start slow, and then it can get more repercussive up and down, but especially that downward drop. We want to just stimulate all the stuff, all the emotion, all the frustration about what's happening in our country, all of the, fall, the accumulation of things. We just want to really shake it out, bounce it out, and move some of that lymph. So let's start bouncing a little bit more rapidly up and down. And as you're doing this, you can also bounce your hands, flicking the wrists, getting your shoulders up and back or forward and down. You might start a little side to side, swinging. Just about 5 more breaths. Anything that feels good for you to just shake it out. Okay, great. I just want to put one mute thing on really quick. Okay. All right. This is a really sweet thing that I've been practicing for the last, I guess, like month. And it's just percussion up and down the arms. These are the lines in our, Eastern practices that relate to our lungs, to our heart, to the deep inner organs. So we're going to just do some pounding. You can take a fist. You can do this with an open palm. We're going to start at the chest and just start pounding up to the upper shoulder, out to the outer shoulder, down the outside arm, even into the bone on your elbow, your outer wrist, even into the fingers and hands themselves, and then up the inner arm. Do that just 2 or 3 times. It really depends on how you're feeling, how much energy and stimulation you provide. If you're feeling a little bit more like beat up, maybe you want to go just softer. Just let this be an awareness practice. Once you get back up to the chest, pause, take a deep breath in. Slide that hand right through your center line. Exhale it all the way down and out. Just draining that new energy, getting rid of whatever you moved out. Second side. Start at the chest, tapping. It's so funny to be coming back to these practices or to see them in new light. When I was little, like maybe in middle school, one of my youth counselors, she always said, if you're feeling sick, go take a hot shower, and do your eucalyptus or whatever steam. And she said, literally, like, pound on your chest, like, get into your lung tissue to break up congestion. And I had no awareness, of yoga or Chinese medicine at that point. So that's so cool. First, full circle. Okay. Pause that. Wherever you are, and I'm just kneeling because my camera is really tiny. But we are going to do a little chest wrapping. I recommend you start with the fingertips. And just take a minute here to pause. Feel where not the center of your sternum is and not kind of at the top of your clavicle, but that point right in between. And you can even start to palpate there. Just creating very small circular kneading movements. You can go out towards the shoulder. You can go up towards the collarbone. These areas can't take a whole ton of pressure because there's not a ton of tissue there. There's just a lot of bone. But we do want to be able to move the connective tissue. So now you can make those movements a little bigger. Just looks like we're rubbing our boobs, right? But that's exactly what we're doing. Make those movements really big, and then you can start to tap. Tap up and down that center line, right? We want our voices to be heard. We want our hearts to be awake and open and vital, pumping energy inspiration, motivation throughout our body, throughout our mind, throughout our practice, throughout our community. So just make sure that the drum beat is there. Let's go for 3 more breaths. Just shake anything else out. You can make some noise. Let your sound be heard. And then pause. Take a deep breath in. As you exhale, start to reach the arms out wide, straighten the fingers, flex them up towards your wrists, and push the space away. Get really, really long here through your bones. We're going to hold here for about 10 breaths. You're going to feel some heat. That's good. I want you to focus on every slow and deep inhale that you are tapping into your natural power, your chi, your energy, your prana, the vital force that already lives and exists within you. And on every deliberate, slow exhale, you're extending that power out, sharing it with the world, letting that heat and your own light just stretch out across your space. Let your breaths be intentional, be full. It's a total miracle anyways, so pay attention. Even more, stretch your energy out into your space. Feel that heat starting to build throughout the body, that vitality that's going to nourish you, that's going to sustain you as we go into the cold and the dark, stormy times up ahead. Last breath. Cool. And then on this final exhale, you can just relax the hands down. Just get really soft and do a couple more just bounces, especially at the wrists and knees. Just let everything get super soft. Okay. I'm going to do a little work for the spine. And especially I like this because the breath work that we're going to do with this pose, it reminds me so much of swimming through water, of really having to draw breath in, hold it as much as I can, feel myself go through a body of water, and then that burst of exhale at the top where you're like, finally I can take another breath. So what this is going to do is stimulate our lymphatic system, which is how we get rid of all the junk, right? All of the accumulation in the body. We have to pump it, and the breath is basically the engine. So I'll show this from the side. I'm calling out Becca. This is totally something I've learned from her class, and I absolutely love it. It feels so good. So thank you, Becca. You're going to bend your knees just slightly. And just allow your weight to come forward and back into your feet. And then find that midpoint where there's almost no effort to stand, just with a little softness in the knees. Okay, from here, you're going to inhale. Exhale all the way out. And then inhale, circle, sweep the arms wide. Take in that light, that power, that presence, that heat that you've just built into your space. Reach it all the way overhead. Get really tall. And then as you exhale, hold the breath. See if you can bow forward like you're diving down into that cool body of water. Let it spill from your fingers up all the way across your chest. Keep holding the breath. As you get to the bottom, pause. Bend your knees deeply. And now inhale, big inhale, arch the back, reach the arms wide like you're swimming up through those bubbles of your own breath. Get really tall again. Exhale, come all the way down. So we're just going to kind of switch it up. We're doing like a breath in between, emptying out, feeling that kind of bottom spot. Inhale to arch, reach up. Reach, swim towards the light. Take a full breath in, hold, Exhale, round your spine. Come all the way down. Spill into that pool at the bottom. Gather the bubbles. Exhale the breath. Keep going. Inhale to the top. Hold. Round and exhale, dive down. You can go through it twice more on your own. Just seeing how much you can fill up, hold, expand, feel that vitality, and then exhale to spill it all out, forcing yourself back into respiration, back into inspiration. So next time that you inhale at the top, hold. Exhale, soften the elbows out wide, bring the hands down in front of the body, super slow. Clearing that practice, just letting everything melt. Okay. Now I want to focus a little bit more into the belly. So we're going to do a few rounds of what's called Uddiyana Bandha. I think all of you know this. The premise is that you're filling up, you're fully exhaling, and then you're drawing energy in from the base of the perineum all the way into the abdomen, pulling it in and back. Okay, so that's on an empty breath. We're going to do that 3 times, and then we're going to try what's called Nauli Kriya. And I guess the only other contraindication, again, is if you're pregnant or you're on your period or you've just eaten a huge meal. This would not be what you want to do. So Uddiyana Bandha, just so you can see, we take a full breath in, we exhale, and you draw in and up, in and back. And you'd hold until you can no longer hold. Then you just let the breath come in. Okay, so Nauli at the bottom of this is Uddiyana Bandha. You're just pumping the belly like you're trying to belly dance forward and back rapidly, just with the abdomen muscles, okay? So we'll try it. We'll do it 3 times together. So find that nice, big, comfortable stance. Deep breath in, arms circle up. All the way, exhale, hands come down to your thighs. Bend your knees. Relax the belly. Bottom of the breath. Everything's out. Pull the butt up. Pull the belly up. Pull the back in. And hold. When you need to release and inhale, straighten the arms and legs, sweep it up. Fill up. Super slow. Exhale all the breath out, hands to the knees. Shift your head down like you're looking at your belly. Uddiyana Bandha. Inhale. Last time, and then we'll practice the Nauli as we go through Uddiyana. So full exhale. Everything's heavy. Belly's relaxed, arms are relaxed, weight in your head is relaxed. Draw it in, Uddiyana. And then Nauli, belly dance. Fast, with intention, belly, belly, belly. Inhale, circle sweep. This time, as you exhale, you're going to drop it. Just drop that breath. Let your arms swing. Inhale, come back up. Exhale, drop the breath. Let the arms swing. One more time. Exhale, drop. And stay low. You can take 5 breaths in a forward fold, keeping the bend in your knees, letting your hands find the floor so that you can just spill. You can just let your whole self spill over the structure of your legs. This is a first variation on a yin pose. So allow your shoulders to slouch forward. Allow your elbows to either just dangle out wide, or you can just slightly hold your wrist behind your calves. Try to find a place that feels easy to rest in. There's minimal effort from your legs to balance you. The bones are stacked. And you can just come back and focus now on evening out that powerful breath. Letting some of the blood circulate down the arms into the throat, the eyes, the brain, nourishing those organs. Try to breathe slow and deep into the belly. Feel the belly stretch against your inner thighs, your waist. Take 2 more full rounds, as slow and deep as you possibly can, and as empty as you possibly can. Head relaxed. Okay. Place the hands down onto the floor. We're going to step the right leg back and come into a low lunge, not a super deep lunge. You want to have your front knee as close over your ankle as you can. Just take a couple side to side movements here. Rocking from one hand to the other. Allow your back hip to turn and twist down or up. Allow your back foot to rock from inside to outside. We're still nourishing the belly here in this deep fold. You should even feel, by naturally going into this lunge, that your bottom perineum, the Mulha Bandha, naturally draws in. So there's a natural lift. We want to keep that lift. And move into a split, so you can shift your hips backwards. And there's a couple of different ways that we're going to do this. You can hold the foot vertical, flexing the toes up, if you're feeling excited about stimulating the back of the leg. One option that I suggest is keeping the toes pointed. And as you deepen that split, you'll start to really stimulate the front of your leg, your shin. And this is also part of our digestion line. So wherever you're going to hang out, just find a place where you can keep yourself supported. I'll let your head hang. We'll take about a minute-ish on each side. So we're not working into the deep muscles here. We're just letting everything relax. Allowing the wateriness to just do its own work. The aquarium of our body. It's already maintaining itself. We just have to create the right environment or structure. And throughout this whole practice, it might be coming up for you that you just need to take deeper breaths, even gulps, and that's okay. So as they come up, really feel the breath up into your upper body, feel it into the lowest part of your belly, and just let it drop anytime. Now we'll go back into that little side-to-side movement, just rocking from one hand to the other. And as you do that, you can flip your palm upside down. Take a breath, getting a little wrist stretch. Second side or other one. And then deepen the breath, rebend your front leg. We're going to pick up the back foot and turn it in, kind of like we're doing Russian dance, if you recall, except stay stacked in your back toes And I want you to take your hands and lock them around your ankle. So not quite at the bottom of the Achilles, a little higher. And here, now you have this side-to-side movement. We're going to lock that heel down into the ground so that you can explore just a little deeper range of motion in that ankle. So as I go from side to side with my hips, I get to kind of feel where there are restrictions, where there are limitations. I'm fixing this point, shortening and lengthening different muscles at the same time. And it can also be kind of cool if you do this with your toe in different positions. So turning the foot out more, turning the foot in more. Okay. Bring yourself back to facing the front leg. And just like we did in the beginning of class with the fists or open palms, we're just gonna like pound on this leg. Underneath the knee, on either side of the shin bone, or even on top of the bone. It might feel good for you to get a little vibration there. See if you can just pound from the foot all the way up the leg. All of these are just ways that you get to reconnect with your body. You get to listen and learn, hopefully provide just what it needs to feel refreshed. Okay, now you'll take your hands, interlace, place them right beneath the top of the knee, and you're going to exhale and lean forward and bring the elbows down and together just to squeeze. Inhale, reset, slide down. Exhale, squeeze and lean. All the way down the leg. Any other ways that you guys want to provide just a little touch point here? If you want to get into the calf, you can use your thumbs like kind of a butterfly grip and just use your body to push those thumbs into the muscle. This whole time, we're still getting that nice deep stomach support. Belly is resting on the thigh. Just trying to move things out. All right. Hands to the ground. We're going to do a little switcheroonie here. So you can either do the traditional Russian twist where you bring your foot back and then switch your knees, or you could do it without your hands where you just bring one knee down, internal rotation, and then bring one knee up. And try that 2 or 3 times so that you're getting this nice movement at the hip joint, at the knee, a little bit of the femur, shin bone. Okay, come back to the original side, still in the same lunge. We're going to go into lizard. So your hands can come to the inside of your outside leg, inside, outside. You can walk the toes out and then slightly forward, and then bring your body all the way as far as it'll go forward. And here's a great place, I should mention this before, if you want to have your pillow, you can place it underneath this back thigh, so you have a little bit of a boundary. You don't go too deep. I know us yogis, we want to like just dive into the deepest stretch that we can, but often that's not necessarily always good. So whatever position your lizard looks like, if you're on your hands, if you're going to come down to your forearms, make it sustainable. Build structure so that you can relax. Relax your belly, your head, your neck. Let those waves of breath start to come back into the practice consciously. Notice what's happening. Notice anywhere that's feeling a little stuck. And you don't have to get stuck on that. You don't have to analyze where that stuckness came from or what instigated that stuckness. All you have to do is deal with it. Just by breathing and staying. Hmm. What's untraditional about some of my yin, or most of my yin, is that it's not ultra long, and it's not 100% still. I think there's definitely time and space for that. I want you to embrace, taking a few moments of total stillness just to feel. But I think often that movement, as subtle as you can, even those little rocks, or even just an adjustment of your ankle position, can really be nice, because our body's constantly learning. It's constantly creating feedback for us. So anytime you need to adjust, or you want to just explore a little bit, be my guest. You have about 5 more breaths here in lizard. Feel the lungs across the upper back. Feel the breath going down towards the pelvic floor. Start to crawl your way up if you're down on the forearms. We're going to stay in this pose for just one more little segment. So the outside hand, I want you to turn that out. And then you can pick up your back knee and just readjust so that you're turning your body, your hip, slightly towards your bent leg. You can untuck the back toes and let yourself roll slightly onto that outside leg. Okay, so this is both a twist, but more a side bend. So we're really stretching that right side all the way from the hip up to the neck. And with your arm, you can release the idea of having to push into that arm and use your abs. I want you to sink. I want your shoulder to just be a hammock. And then with your left hand, you can bring that hand up to your ear, your right ear. And just invite that whole side bend to translate through your head, little head to ear. 2 slow breaths. Draining everything out that is stuck. Because we know it's there. Whatever it is for you, just let it drain out now. All right, bring the hands back to the ground. Somehow find your way back to a lunge. Back hip shifts backwards. You're gonna walk to the right. Practice that little move right now where you're bringing your front knee down. So you're in this internally rotated position. And then drag your ankles slightly back together. We're setting up for frog. Now you're maybe not as fortunate as I am to have this like very silky sheepskin shag rug. I can just slide. But do your best to find a depth of this pose that feels like it approaches where your edge of comfort is. You still have some level of control. You can have your escape route, but that you are able to just fully sit back. Say hello to that edge. And here I would say keep the movement to a minimum. Things that you can adjust are bringing the ankles closer or further apart, bringing your arms further or closer to your upper body. We're going to stay here for about a minute. So if you pray, or if you meditate, or if you cast spells through mantra, now would be a great time to do any of that. Just help yourself recreate your reality. Check in with what's the mental speak that happens when you're in these challenging poses. oh my God, my hips are so tight. I'm such an idiot. I shouldn't have done all those lunges earlier. Or like, wow, I've really beat my body up this week. This is a great way for me to just nourish and be present. You know, whatever the mantra is, there's always the opposite side. If you find yourself in a negative pattern, I invite you to dwell on the good. This is literally how our brains change. Like neuroplasticity for positive stuff is a thing. So if you retain, if you dwell in those moments, if you kind of soak them up, where there's something positive, like some insight, some beautiful experience, something so simple, pleasurable, your brain learns from that and it wants to recreate that experience again and again. So another 2 to 3 breaths, and then we're going to slowly come out of this magical frog position that once again I've probably already got myself too deep because of the slipperiness here. Bring your hands back underneath you. I like to pull the hips slightly forward and then bring the knees back together. And any kind of movement that you want to have here in between is great. I like to do hip circles, kind of a modified table where my hips are still behind my knees. I'm just rounding the spine and circling the hips. Anything that feels good. You just want to flush the system. And then we're going to go into that whole thing on the second side. So you'll bring your right foot now, find a lunge position, knee directly over ankle. Bring your props to the other side. Get yourself set up to feel supported. Oops. Where'd you go? There you guys are. All right. Cool. So take one deep breath here in this nice, just low lunge. Stay for the exhale. Get really soft in your belly. And then walk your hips back. Straighten the front leg. Again, you're welcome to flex the foot up or invitation to point the toe. Fold the chest more forward, lengthening at the spine and hips so that you get that big stimulus through the front of the shin. Take about 5, 6 slow breaths. One more slow, full inhale, all the way. Fill up as much as you can. And then exhale, let the breath drop. Okay. Inhale, rebend your front knee. Pick up your back foot, slide it behind you. So you're now turning slightly to the side. We're going to anchor the ankle. Say that 10 times fast. And start that lateral side to side range of motion exploration. And as you're doing this, you're providing touch, massage to the ankle, to the foot, but you're really pinning the heel down so that you can get a better read on how your mobility is doing. I have wicked flexible ankles, so I'm hoping that you're not watching. Okay. All right. Come back into kneeling, percussion, up, down the calf and shin a few times. If you haven't tried it, you can hammer directly onto bone. front of the shin bone is a sharp edge. You're getting a little extra vibration there to make sure that your bones grow, that they're strong and stable. Get into the feet. And then interlace the fingers. Take a deep inhale. As you exhale and lean forward, elbows go in and back. Inhale, release, slide down an inch. Exhale, pump. Twice more. Let's go for the calf. So thumb butterfly right into the center of the calf. Lean the body weight forward. Same thing, switch positions or go down. And the thumbs are soft. There's no energy. I'm just literally like letting my thumbs do nothing, just letting my body weight be the strength. Gravity's the teacher always. Okay, fortunately for you, we're not doing another round of frog. We already did that. We are going to go into lizard. So walk that right leg a little wider, hands to the inside. I'm exploring not always going into my deepest range of motion. So I'm just staying up on my arms and focusing on surrendering the muscular tension, just allowing the bones to be what I'm leaning into. Belly is soft, foots are soft, fingers are soft, face is soft, mind is soft because it's connecting to the breath. It's connecting to the good, to the gratitude, to the pause. When the mind is busy doing that, it can't be sharp and aggressive and analytical. Take 5 more breaths and enjoy them. Find pleasure in the process of breathing. Slowly start to re-engage the back, the head, the neck. Bring the fingers backwards just slightly. Turn your left hand out. Start to roll towards your left hip, letting the foot roll to the outer edge. Sink into that left shoulder and find this big side stretch and hang for 2 breaths. Right hand is always welcome to come brace the outside of your left ear. Just create a little bit more length through the neck. And these are all digestion poses. These are all meant to just allow things to drop and settle. So move slow. We're going to come back out of that side hang and begin to just shift your body back into tabletop. Maybe your wrists are sore, maybe your knees are sore. You need to do any other little movements to kind of readjust. Okay. So here's where we get to go now onto the belly. And we're going to be doing a bit of abdominal massage, very low key. I'm going to show you, just for reference, what I'm talking about, since you won't be able to see it when I'm on my belly. So you want to keep your belly super, super soft, right? There's no definition, no tone, just let it all hang out. And you're going to be crossing the thumbs through the center of the palm and then creating a fist. If this is too strong, you're always welcome to do this with kind of soft fists face up, because the knuckles can be quite strong. You're also always welcome to just do this with an open palm. Okay, so on the ground, it will look like or feel like we're kind of doing this. So there's a kneading movement. You're going to be doing that with your body and not with your arms. Your arms are going to be just there, okay? So go ahead and slide backwards into your space. Come down to your belly. And we'll do a quick pelvis adjustment. So lift up one foot and then turn that whole leg so your toes are facing in. So internally rotate the leg. And then do the same thing with the other one. Reach it up and then internally rotate so you get lots of length through the low back. And then you'll choose your tool, so whichever hand variation. And you're just going to simply lean to one side and sneak your hand into the belly. It doesn't matter where. Same thing on the second side. You can keep your head up for this, or if it feels good to smash your head towards the ground, that's fine. But what I want you to focus on is not necessarily using the arms. Just use your breath and your legs. So imagine you are crawling like a baby would, barely moving forward in space, but those same muscles that you just have to lift your hips slightly, you're crawling with your knees, and you're just allowing the hands to go around the stomach area, even down into the pit of your pelvis, the outer part of your groin, the outer part of where your diaphragm and your ribs connect. See if you can crawl backwards, just in case you crawled all the way off your mat. And then see if you can slow this down and start to connect the movement with the breath and connect the movement with the feeling. There's a lot of things that you're affecting right now. So the slower that you move, the more present that you can be with what's happening, the quicker you can learn and affect change. Anything that might be getting stirred up emotionally or mentally, if you're just like, oh, this is really uncomfortable, just let that emotion pass, let that go. Literally, you're digesting. So send it down into the digestive tract and let it eliminate. Okay. From here, you're going to sneak your left hand out. You can straighten that arm all the way onto your mat. And then you'll sneak your right arm out. And you can bring your right knee slightly out to the side, almost like you're in a twisted position. You guys have probably done this little shoulder stretch, but your right hand will glide just outside of your elbow if you're stacking the elbow over the wrist. And I want you to take about 5 breaths, tenting your fingers onto the ground to get into this twist where you're pushing through the right hand and you're allowing your head to just stay really heavy. So you'll feel this all the way across your left shoulder, possibly out into the left wrist and fingers. As you're pushing, I want you to focus also on keeping the belly muscles relaxed. Letting your legs be heavy. Just finding new ways to hang off of your own body structures. Take one more slow inhale. Let's open the mouth. And as you exhale, unwind from that position, outstretch both of your arms. Slide the right leg back. Let's shift over to the left. So look at your left hand, bend the elbow, drag your left knee out to the side, tent your fingers, and see if you can really take the entire 5 breaths to slowly come into that stretch. So ever so subtle. Just take inventory of what happens, what you learn, what information the body presents, if the breath gets stuck or not. Deep breath at the top. Open the mouth. Okay, unwind. You can either just turn your head to one side, or you can fold your hands one over the other and place your forehead on your fists. Just take about 5 breaths in this prone position just to assimilate. No movement, just breath. You get to be the laziest version of yourself here. You can bring your hands backwards and then just very effortlessly just kind of push yourself over and onto your back. And let it really be effortless. Like make it so lazy that it feels great. So as you come onto your back, you can readjust yourself, and you're going to want to have those 2 pillows or some type of thick bolster or blanket that won't compress for this final couple of moves tonight for yin. So with your pillows, you'll lift your hips up and place that pillow underneath your sacrum so that part of that line right behind where your sacrum starts to meet the lumbar spine, part of that is supported. We don't want you just hanging off in space. Part of that's supported. Again, this pillow is probably a little too compressed for me. I would like to have a little bit more. So you want to get as much support as you can. And we're going to start by lengthening the left leg. And then you'll draw your right knee up into your chest and take the hands, interlace them, and place them down on the front of your shin. You can readjust this position up or down the shin depending on how much flexibility you have. Your leg's going to want to turn. And I want you to be in a place where there's almost no movement. It's almost effortless to just hang your arms and not have your leg move to the side. So wherever that is for you might be different for me. I'm going to stay here for just a little bit. Allow those breaths to be full and deep. I've had about 10 times where I've just really needed to let go. I've been watching chick flicks, been crying my eyes out at night. I've been taking long walks and getting all emotional about the fall colors and the leaves and just feeling a lot. So I invite you to feel a lot in this moment, in this pose. We're allowing this spleen and liver energy, this line from the left leg, to completely be open. And we're stimulating the beginning part of the digestive tract into the intestines, into the stomach. So know that just by taking a certain shape, you can do a lot for the body. It's amazing. Okay, I want to give a little attention to a body part that gets overlooked, and it's the elbow. So now that you have been still here, you're getting the idea of what this shape feels like. Now I want you to wrap your right elbow outside of that shin. And you can either interlace your fingers, you can hold your wrist, or you might even hold the forearm. I want you to use your creativity and use that shin and knee to affect some massage onto this arm. Two things that I like to do are taking the wrist and rolling that arm towards me, so the thumb is kind of rolling down. That's massaging the muscle tissue. Also taking the wrist or the fingers and pulling and getting a little traction through that joint. You can also just pull the whole hand and wrist down, pushing that arm and shoulder into a rotated internal rotation. So there's a lot of fun, creative, weird things that you can do here. Take about 3 more breaths and just explore the elbow. And then we're going to do a final ankle pump. So just pushing the toes up and pointing them down rapidly or slowly, kind of depends on what you're feeling. If you haven't been moving or walking much today, I'd say like try to get maybe 20 or 30 times. You can also squeeze the toes. You could circle. We're really just trying to pump all of that blood and lymph and heat up into the body and then out through the digestion. Okay, super lazy style. Let that leg that was bent find the floor. Lengthen it against the ground. Almost no effort. Okay, notice the difference in sensation. The left leg is cool. The right leg is warm. We're going to do the opposite side. So slowly start to draw the left knee up. Hands interlace in front of the shin. The right leg is as lazy as possible, as relaxed as possible. Five slow breaths, finding that place that's easy and stable and still. Maybe you're reflecting in these next couple of breaths about just something beautiful that you've experienced this week, someone that you have reconnected with, a delicious meal that you've enjoyed, the pleasure of falling asleep or waking up. Just bring your full attention to that experience and sensation and let yourself dwell there. You can start chewing up the left elbow, so wrap the arm outside the shin. It might be tighter on this side, so you might need to readjust in order to get hold of the arm. See how much you can just get creative in about 5 breaths here. Pulling, dragging that arm, rolling the tissue up around your shin bone, squeezing the wrist and hands, fingers, not skipping any piece that needs to be addressed. And then ankle pump, up and down, up and down, up, down, up, down. Big squeezes too, as you're pointing and flexing. Think about squeezing the muscles of the leg, of the toes, the calf. Okay, pause, take a deep breath in. Open the mouth, exhale, and just very effortlessly lengthen that left leg back to the ground. Slide it out to meet the right. Your tendency probably here will be that the toes will turn out, the legs will slightly separate, and that's okay. Invite you to place your hands along your belly, to close your eyes, and enjoy the next several minutes, or really however much time you'd like to dedicate to the end of this practice. The rest of your night is yours. If you have about 5 to 10 full minutes, just stay here and let each breath be a reminder that you are safe, that you are alive, that you are supported, that this moment is exactly and purely yours. And let each exhale be a reminder that there's always a fresh start. You don't have to understand your problems fully to solve them. And that anything that's extra or too much, you can simply leave here tonight. You can simply let it go. Notice how good it feels just to breathe. Feel the miracle that is your life, your breath, rise and fall beneath your hands. And just take joy in that. It's been a total joy to hang out with you guys tonight. I'm going to end this session, but I do encourage you to stay for as long as you see fit. I hope that you sleep well and feel rested tomorrow. And thank you again for joining. Love and kisses. Bye.